Okay, welcome to episode number 2 of the Hometown Huddle podcast. I'm Carter Christensen, and I'm here with a whole host of characters that are going to be joining me today, as always, to talk a little bit about small town athletics. It's kind of a football podcast, but we all played various sports. And so we're joined by the one brother that wasn't on last week, which is Chase. So we'll give him a second to introduce himself. I think he heard the podcast last week, so we kind of know what we talked about. But tell the people a little bit about yourself and your playing and coaching experience.
Yeah, I think at this point I've got more coaching than playing experience. I know there's competition. This would be a debated claim, but I'm going to call myself the best JV quarterback that Royals had. And then I played football, high school. I think I played 1 year of varsity football, and then basketball and everything for all 3 years varsity basketball. And I've been coaching basketball and football for the high school and the middle school for 4 years now.
Yeah, that sounds right. Fun fact, Chase and Corbin and Caleb all took second place in league MVP voting at some point during high school, which is a real bummer. And then me and Cash did not take second place, so that's pretty cool, huh, Cash?
Cash is going for first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Cash could still do it. My time has unfortunately flown by. Too bad. Anyways, today, I guess going into topic-wise, what we're going to talk about, talk a little bit about the ChatGPT the prompt. I just had it generate some stuff. It talks about the heart of small-town football culture. So, and this can be, small-town athletics culture in general, right? We kind of get to the end of football season here. We're starting playoffs, and you get into basketball and stuff, and I think it's kind of a smooth transition between the two as far as people being excited. Then you get to spring sports, and you don't really get the crowds for those as much. But I don't know. What do you guys think it is? I don't know if you guys read through this at all. It doesn't super matter if you did or not. But what do you think it is that makes small town football or small town sports unique? Like, why is it such a big deal here?
I think it kind of comes from the fact that there's nothing else to do. Yeah. There's no people like sports, and there's no other way you're going to get sports. There's no college team or pro team or semi-pro team, or you know what I mean. So the entertainment that you're going to get is going to the games at the high school, and they're going to get packed out every time because of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's like people are fans of like the pro teams and stuff, like of the Seahawks and the Mariners and different things, but yeah, I don't know. It's just something about the high school and the kids. Even though it's like you're not necessarily watching like the highest level of sports of all time. I mean, obviously our football team's good and our basketball teams have been really good the past, 5 to 10 years, I think. But like when I was in high school, like my senior year, Chase was a sophomore. I don't know why anybody would want to go watch that. If we could score 40 points in a game, it was like, all right, we did it. Nice job, everybody. But
yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, something about it.
Yeah, but also the like just kind of community investment. If you don't, most people are going to have a family member on a team if it's soccer, football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is. So that's going to pull people out, and even if they don't, they're going to know somebody on the team. So you get a lot of just support.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely a family affair. You look at all the different, in our town, you look at the same names on half of the jerseys. It's like, all right, this is a family outing this week is going to the game, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Playing in the game.
Well, yeah, and then kind of whenever you – oh, go ahead, Caleb. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. Like kind of what Corbin was talking about, I feel like that's like especially our family. That's like 99% of our family time, our whole lives has been sporting events. So like at this point, that's like what we do for fun is go to the games together.
Yeah, it kind of is. And the stuff we start a podcast so we can talk about it. No, I think it's true. Even like girls soccer, like I don't know. It's like, oh yeah, girls soccer, but I'm like, oh, I know they played tonight. I checked on this stuff on the thing because I'm like, oh, we have a cousin playing in the game, and you know the coaches and and all that. And it's like the first thing you talk about when you see people at church and at different things, like, oh man, how'd it go this week? That was tough, blah, blah, blah. Just interesting. Maybe it is just a product of there's not much else to do, but I don't know. I think there's something to the rest of it.
I find myself like on weekdays during the week watching C Squad film from that week because we're cousin on the team, or like JV, I guess, technically Vice, whatever it is. Never really see him.
Well, he's been hurt all year, so he hasn't played. So that's probably why you haven't seen him.
I think another factor,
what's that?
Another factor is the majority of the kids are involved in sports. I mean, where we come from a small school, it's that's part of the culture is a high percentage of the kids are involved in sports.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's really true. I didn't really think about it that way. It's like, man, yeah, pretty much every kid does some type of sport. You kind of have to, otherwise you don't have enough people. But
yeah.
And then I think there's something to the roots of that. Like, it's been fun for me because our high school was opened in 1964. So that was like the first football team was 1964. So this year it's the 60th birthday or 60th anniversary or whatever of the opening of the school. So I've gotten to go back and look at a ton of the different things. And you just look at the guys who like played, like Jerry Allred, right? It was like one of the first quarterbacks within the first 4 or 5 years of the school opening. And now he's had, 2 sons that played quarterback and 2 grandsons. And so many people. Now he's got like 50 more grandsons that are probably going to come through. But it's just, the roots, I think, that are there and these rivalries that build up like over time more than anything, I think is interesting, right? If you go way back, it's like, oh man, we were playing Othello and Connell and all these guys, and you see it when Walouk splits off and starts their thing. So I think there's just a lot of emotion involved from back in the day, and everybody's back in the day time that kind of gets you involved.
Yeah, it is funny, that tradition and just the like weird stories, because I even remember when we were kids and we didn't live in Royal growing up, but just we knew Dad's whole history. We'd go on NCAA football or Madden and make like Royal nights. It's like I've been to Royal twice in my life.
Never been there.
Never watched a football game, but I'm like, Royal football, like that's cool. Yeah. So I mean, even like you're talking about Jerry, like your dad and your grandpa and like cousins and siblings and all these people that have played for it, it makes it like, I think even when you're 9 years old and you're playing grid kids, it's like really important for those kids.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. Just that the emotional tie to it, where you're like, oh man, my dad and my grandpa and everybody freaking played here at this school, and we're playing Othello, and my dad told me about the time they'd lost to them, or we're playing Kai B and they beat him in overtime. That's the one I always remember he told us about, was beating Kai B. I didn't remember it was Kai B, but I remember him talking about sliding and catching a pass to win or something, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's Kai B. They actually kind of suck. Like, we haven't lost to them since then. I shouldn't say that. Hopefully nobody from Kai B's listening, but you guys haven't beat Royal since 1988, so we're chilling. The guy who was shouldn't say we're chilling. That's not great to say, but our C squad did beat your JV by about 45. So, anyways, yeah. Well, we'll dive into some of those things a little bit as far as like rivalries and stuff go. We want to talk a little bit about our rivalry games, but let's do a little bit of a sports roundup from this week. I want to start with Corbin, if his Fortnite game isn't too intense right now. Any intramural games this week you want to update us on?
I had a rec basketball game yesterday.
How'd it go?
Badly. We lost. I think I went 1 for 15, probably 1 for 5 from 3, and I missed a layup that would have put us only down by 2 with about 30 seconds left. Pretty crucial layup.
Huh.
Granted, I had to work hard for the offensive rebound that led to the layup, but
you kind of sold the shot.
Yeah. This weekend we have our first round of the intramural playoff football. I will be gone most likely because of my soon-to-be brother-in-law's bachelor party. So that's unfortunate, but we can't have it all.
That's true. Where's the bachelor party?
St. George.
St. George.
You didn't
Nice.
want everybody come watch your game?
No, that would have been a way better party, to be honest.
He's not your number one fan?
Yeah.
Not yet.
No, and he didn't invite me to be on his team at the other intramural school this year. So you know what?
Huh.
Maybe I should bail on him to go to my game. But,
Are you guys in the first division?
We are.
Okay, so you get double elimination still, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
We should.
Yeah. So I worked at BYU Intramurals for a bunch of years when I was at BYU, and that's the teams that are the best and get into the first division playoffs get double elimination. Everybody else is just single elimination. So if you lose, I guess you still get another shot at it.
Yeah.
Just an uphill battle after that.
Not too bad. We'll see how it goes.
Like you can come back and win it all.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen before. Where teams, but
We
what
almost
happens
got
in
there.
those double elimination is you have to go win the finals twice. Like, so if you make it all the way to the finals and you're the team that's coming out of the losers bracket, you have to win twice. So you have to beat that team and then you play them again the next night or 2 nights later.
My first semester in it back from my mission, we went losers bracket, made it all the way back, and we lost to the team, but we had a chance to beat them twice. But they had like 3x BYU players.
Yeah, those teams are always pretty good. Huh. Well, it sounds like intramural season's going really well. Who are you playing with on the rec basketball team?
A bunch of kids that from used to go to Lone Peak, class 2018.
Okay. So it's not like
Apparently a
Tyler Haas and
legendary year.
Mika and stuff?
Apparently a legendary year. I don't know. No.
But you were going 1 for 15. They let you shoot.
Yeah, I wasn't showing out for the Royal crowd, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, that's about right on pace for.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're pretty consistent.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't bad. It's funny. One of my best friends, after he comes out and he's like, "How much basketball did you really play in high school?" And that's when I was like, "I mean, a good amount." And he's like, "Well, you definitely played more football, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, yeah, that makes sense." No offense, but
No offense. I mean, I started for 3 years in the SCAC East, kind of a juggernaut league. I mean, I was the tallest guy in the league. I was 6'3". Yeah, something like that. Caleb, you guys played this weekend Central. You guys went to Angelo State. Is that what it was?
We did, yeah.
Where is that?
That is in San Angelo, Texas.
Nice.
Are they going to have you start kicking PATs anytime soon?
No comment.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, the PAT thing, it's tough because, I mean, if I remember, you guys got down and had a chance to tie the game, but then penalties kind of back you up. I didn't get the chance to watch it, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, we lost a tough game. They're a good team.
Yeah, that's
Really
what.
good team.
Yeah, I saw. That's definitely a good team. So, are they in your conference?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, nice. How do the playoffs work for D2?
That's a good question. I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
I think it's based on regions. They take the top 7 teams from each region.
Okay, nice. That's cool.
So we've got a couple games left to
Yeah.
give ourselves a shot.
You get your ranking up there. Nice. That'll be good. That's cool. Where are you guys at home this week?
Yeah, we're at home the next 2 weeks.
Nice. Okay, that's cool.
Close it out. Yep.
Are those the
How
last-
many
Oh,
be
go
in the?
What, Dad?
How many teams will be in the playoff?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. D3 there's a lot. Do they go 64 in the D3 playoffs? I feel like there's a ton.
I think they go 32.
They
But
go
they
32.
might.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I just when we were last year, because Jeremy and Kyle were talking about Whitworth last year because they were good. They won their league last year and we're up there. I think they're in the top 10 this year for D3. Whitworth is, which is cool. Cash starting middle school basketball this week. How's the team looking?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm like the MVP, best on the team.
You're like the MVP, so we're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Who else?
What?
Who else is on the team?
Jack, Packer, Graham, Heath.
There you go. You got 5.
Yeah.
Boys.
The usual suspects, but Ryan is getting surgery, right? So he can't play.
Yeah, on Friday.
is what I was told by his mom. So her classroom's right next to mine. Tough. But that should
You
be...
stuck it out for football.
Yeah, I know.
I
That's
suppose it's not
crazy.
important enough. Probably hard to shoot with a broken right elbow, huh?
Yeah. Makes it a little bit tough. But that'll be good. You guys will get some good experience in. Middle school basketball goes fast because you guys start this week and you're done by Christmas break. So it's in it's what, 6 weeks long? It's really fast.
Yeah, I saw their last game. I don't coach them anymore, but I looked up the schedule anyway just to see. But their last game is the 16th of December, so it's...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So it's what? Yeah, 5 weeks? 5.5, 6? I don't know, something like that. Who knows? This isn't a math podcast. We're not doing addition on here. All right, cool. Well, for me, I guess JV, we won last night 46-0 over Sunnyside in a 35-mile-an-hour windstorm. But it was a fun game. Sunnyside's stuff. What am I talking about? Their facilities. That's what I wanted to say. They're really nice. They had a cool team room. They were really hospitable. Their turf's really nice. Cool stadium. They have a big jumbotron. It was probably one of the cooler little high school stadiums I've been to. It'd be cool for us to do stuff like that, except for we're 1A and they're 4A. But yeah, it was a pretty good week overall for sports. Sounds like. Well, let's dive into this a little bit, into some of our topic we wanted to talk about. But like we were saying, a big thing with small town high school sports, especially football, it's just kind of those roots that you have, parents and grandparents and going way back and local legends and different things and all these stories that are told that might be embellished a little bit over the years. But just like our community has those same things, there's all these little surrounding communities that, kind of grow at the same time as us. And the thing we have in common is that we've been playing each other in football for years. And so these rivalries kind of form. So I want to hear from you guys. When you guys were in school, who was your biggest rival? Maybe start with Dad, going the furthest back. Who's your big rival school?
Ooh. I don't know that I ever felt like there was a real rivalry, year after year rivalry with anyone. So I couldn't say.
Yeah. Nobody that you just you were really motivated to play against or that you really hated or anything?
No, not really. Not specifically. Seemed I always think of the Connell rivalry. There was, seems like, years that was here. I'd rather be in that when I was in high school. I don't, honestly, we weren't good enough to really
to have a real big rivalry back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that your junior year was the first year we'd ever really no, it wasn't the first year we'd ever really won a play. It was the first year we ever won a playoff game. I think we'd only been 3 or 4 times before 87.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I guess that makes sense. Other teams had kind of, it wasn't a big rivalry with anybody. And then you mentioned Connell a little bit. That was definitely the big rival when I was in high school, but that had come from, I think that was a little more recent of a rivalry because they were, we'd played them way back in the day. But then in the early 2000s, they were 2A and won a state title and then moved to 1A, and it was kind of back and forth with them, especially in 2006, 2007, where in 2006, they beat us in the regular season on a field goal, they make it to the finals. We lose in the semifinals. They end up losing in the finals in 06. Then in 07, pretty similar situation where they beat us on a field goal. We get all the way back to the finals, play them, and beat them. So it was this big rivalry. But then getting into, 2009, 2010, 2011, they're really good. They made 2 or 3 straight finals in those years and won a couple of them, and they beat the crap out of us for a few years. And I remember that my first game against Connell when I was a sophomore, we went down there, and I think they ran for 350 yards on us, just ran over us. And then the next year it was really close. I think we still ended up losing by, 2 touchdowns, maybe 3. At the end, they got a couple on us, and they went off in one state, and it was really good. And then my senior year, man, we were really motivated, and we beat the crap out of them. We got the running clock rule. We got up by 40, which was, I think that was a cool moment for us in the rivalry. That was probably the highlight of that season, was getting to just beat on Connell. But that wasn't the end of things for them. I don't know, Chase and Corbin and Caleb, if Connell was a big one for you guys, or if you guys had different ones.
Yeah, Connell was kind of the, like, historically, just because, I graduated 2015, just a couple of years after you, so it was that coming right off Connell being really good, so we were always worried about that. But I don't think it was ever like, for me, it wasn't. I don't think it was that crazy of a thing, And for me, it's hard to even, I played 1 year of varsity football, and played is kind of an exaggeration. I mostly just kind of watched it, waited for it to be over. So I don't have like a real strong sense of like, oh, who was our rival that I really wanted to beat. The ones that stick out were like Warden and Walouk, just because they were like annoying, but they weren't that good, so we were probably just going to beat them anyway. So we'd get excited about that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember I did for a job shadow when I was a senior. I went on a radio broadcast for the local ESPN radio station in Moses Lake with Dave Haverlow. I think his name was Dave. I know it was Haverlow. He was great. He was like an MLB pitcher back in the day, and so I was on his show for 3 hours and learned about some stuff. But I remember it was before the football season, before my senior year, and he asked us, "Oh man, the big royal rivalries, Connell and then Walouk, that's a big rivalry." And I was like, "No, it's not. What the heck are you talking about?" Like, I don't know when the last time we lost to them was, and it was 2001. I found out now it was 2001, but it was a big, like, you go back to late 90s, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. It was close with them a lot, like, and they beat us in the playoffs one year, and man, it was tight. So it's just funny how those things evolve over time. Corbin, for you, I would guess you guys played Connell in one of the finals, and the games were always close when you were in high school. Like, they were good those years. But I don't know, for you, who was a big rival?
Reese Humphreys, Parker Materi.
Those were your personal rivals?
Those were my personal rivals since from 7th grade on. Every sport, those guys. I remember Reese Humphreys, even in middle school, it was, we got Burbank this week. Coming for Reese. And then
coming for Reese.
Yeah, and then we ended up talking a few times, like before and after games in high school. And then at the All-State game, he's like one of the nicest kids there. Some of the kids from Kaibi, too. We had a kid named Toad, who was a stud up until high school, and then he never got better. But yeah, Connell was a big one for sure. That was a huge rivalry, which if you want to define rivalry by like losing to them sometimes, it wasn't that much of a rivalry, but it was a tough game. It was the toughest game by far.
Yeah, that was the thing with those. They were always close. Like we talked about last week, your sophomore, junior, senior years, you went undefeated. So it's not, if we're talking about wins and losses, like nobody was really a rival, but those guys were probably the closest thing to it that you'd play every year. I think all 3 of those years it was a 1-score game. And then going into the finals, that was probably the biggest win you guys had over them, just points wise. Beat them by, was it 28-10?
Yeah, my sophomore year, in the second time we played them, we beat them.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, you guys ran and clocked them in the semis or something.
The first time was really close.
Yeah, you played them in the regular season, it was close, and then semis was kind of a little more of a blowout.
Yeah, that in football. Walouk was the rival actually in basketball, like junior and senior year. I would say that was the biggest one.
Yeah, that was the same for me in high school. That was Walouk for sure.
Yeah, I remember when those started to get kind of good. Because, I feel like in high school for basketball, we were kind of like Dad was talking about. Like, we were never good, so I don't know who our rival was ourself in practice. We just couldn't figure it out. Our rival was our left hands. Just can't seem to beat this guy.
We were there for a couple of years, too.
Yeah, the practice squad was your rival.
Yeah,
actually,
the practice squad when I was a senior was better than us. I freaking played every minute of every game, and I sucked. Chase rode the bench, and I was like, I think Chase is better than me. I still claim that I have the record for most minutes played in a game because we went down to Riverview one year, and I was starting my senior year because I think Pete felt bad for me probably. I mean, I was okay. But like I'd broken my nose, so I'm wearing this freaking mask. I can't see. I already wasn't that good, so it was not going well. But Kent, who was our really good player, it's our cousin, he got in foul trouble, so I just had to stay in. Like I never really subbed out. Normally Chase would come in for me. And then we ended up going to overtime. So I played all 32 minutes of the game, and then I played all 5 minutes of overtime. Never came out. I didn't even score 7 points, I think. But we did win. Riley Leffler banked in a 3 in the overtime, and we won.
Riley, I don't remember if we ever went to overtime when I was a senior, but Riley, if we did, Riley might have you beat because I don't think he subbed out.
Yeah, he never came out.
Whole senior year. Like I think he played every minute of every game.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I feel like he did that year, too, when I was a senior because we didn't really have another guard.
Yeah.
It was like all 4. It was like him and then Brady, Reed, me, Kent. Like, everybody was a
was like
Kent was probably our next point guard.
Yeah, those are good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. Caleb, how about you? Big rivals?
I feel like, kind of the same as everybody else. I feel like for football, my junior year, we had some, it almost seemed like we kind of had rivalries with everybody because we had lost the year before. And so I think there was a little chink in the armor, and people kind of, thought, okay, maybe we can beat Royal now. And so do you remember Warden that year? One of our previous coaches went there.
Oh, yeah, I went to that game because I came home randomly that week.
What was that name again? What was that coach's name?
Coach Stanberry.
Coach Stanberry.
Let's go.
Yep. And so they were pretty confident. They thought they had all the secrets to beat us. And they had a good quarterback and some good players. But
Arredondo.
Yep.
Top 2.
Then Connell was good that year. We played Connell in the regular season and beat them. They weren't great. We beat them in the regular season, but then they had a really good playoff run.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's the thing with Connell. Even those years, they're not great. They're always tough. Like there's just kind of that identity to where they're still good. Like you'll play them, and it's they'll be they'll be 2-3 you're going into the game, but it's this one's going to be a tough game. Like they're going to play it tough.
Yeah, and they're well coached.
Yeah.
Caleb, did you have any personal rivals? Were there guys that you were like, I just want to beat the crap out of that guy?
I don't know if I had any personal rivals. I think there were definitely people that I wanted to beat. I think Warden had some players that I wanted to beat.
Yeah.
Basketball, Riverview that year was good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember they ended up being pretty good.
Man, a couple kids from Nat East. Dad, do you remember any other names?
When you played, Corbin?
Was that your year where that one kid was just bombing threes and scored 47 points in Royal?
Kobe Cole?
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think Nat East would have been our basketball rival, honestly. They took us out of the playoffs from Chase Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kobe Coles, yep. He was dead. Man.
Yeah,
it's always a kid with a kind of goofy looking shot that just makes everything. You see him in warm-ups, you're like, yeah, right, dude. And then he just kills us.
Slaughters.
We should do we've thrown out a few names on this podcast with unorthodox functional jumpers. I mean, we got Riley Leffler, Kent Christensen, Kobe Coles.
The unorthodox functional jumper.
We need a new category off on the right.
Yeah, we'll make a list. The unorthodox functional jumper.
The UFJ.
That's the thing. People talk about, you see this oh, man, I could just go out with the boys and we could just name random NFL running backs for hours. I'm like, we could probably just name random kids in high school that we played against. It's not a Hall of Fame name team. Kobe Coles, Kanan Abels. There's a lot of guys.
There, dude. Reuven
Tutunic. I think there's a Tutunic at Riverview that's like a freshman or sophomore. I saw Tommy Wolf, Lit Media Productions, posted a picture because he'll go.
Vladimir Risen.
Was that a real guy's name?
Yep, Vladimir Risen, and his brother Daniel Risen.
That's a good one, Vladimir and Daniel.
Yep.
How did one guy get the Vladimir name?
Couldn't tell you. He was a stud though.
Yeah. I always think it's funny when we would. I remember there were guys from like Burbank and stuff. Who were those guys? It wasn't Humphreys. Like guys like I'd play against guys and dad after the game would be like, oh yeah, I played against that guy's dad too. Like you just get these generational, maybe not feuds, but oh yeah, that's who it was. Those guys were good.
Yeah.
Alan Rom was my age, and then his kids. I think he had a kid Chase's age and a kid Corbin's, maybe.
I think yeah, or he might have been between me and Chase.
Yeah.
What was Tintin? Who was Tintin?
Tintin.
Remember him? It was a kid with bright red hair.
Was it like Chase Brown or something?
Yes, Chase Brown.
Oh, I remember my personal rival in high school was Carter Chase. Me and that homie would be in a fouling each other competition in basketball. It was bad. Like JV through varsity, then we were the same age. And he would like spaz out.
Fouling each other competitions with everybody in basketball.
Yeah, I was good at that.
That's what they practice, I think.
Pretty much. I didn't have much else to my name.
They've been on national news for those competitions.
Yeah, Connell is definitely a little bit interesting. They've been on the national news for a few things.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a lot of it good, but they're a nice town with definitely a tough team. And they're our rivals, so we like to jab at them a little bit every now and again.
I'd say Cash has got a little rivalry building with Connell too. The Forsyth kid.
Forsyth, Cash.
That Forsyth kid is good, man.
Yeah, he
Stud.
Yeah.
Well, their coach told me. Their coach said when we played him, he said that's the only time he's seen that kid get mad.
Really?
He said against Matawan, he'll carry the ball 7 times and score 5 touchdowns. And we held them to their 2 lowest scoring games of the whole year, so we kept him way down there. Those are the only games he got frustrated was when Cash was playing middle linebacker.
Yeah, there we go. Get Cash in at backer. No, yeah, Connell. I mean, that's the thing. Like Forsyths are good. Like all of them. Like Jackson Forsyth. I think he was Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think that's the older one. I don't know. They're all good. They're all strong. They play tough. It's like it's why they're our rivals, I guess. But it's funny. Everybody's different now. Like you even see now, different rivalries form among the kids. The teams that they get really excited to play, and the teams that they don't necessarily get super hyped up about. It's just funny how those things change over time, which is always interesting. Well, we'll move on here a little bit from rivalries. I wanted to talk. So, I mean, we get into the high school, sports thing, and you kind of talk about it with everybody. But I remember moving to Royal because we moved before I was a sophomore. So you guys were younger. Cash was not born yet. Caleb, how old were you when we moved?
I turned 7 right before we moved up here. I was 7.
Dang, that's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. You turned 7 right before we moved.
I got that BB gun off for my 7th birthday.
Yeah, there we go. But I remember moving here. We're like, oh man, we're moving to this little town. Like, I wonder what it's gonna be like. Is it gonna be like where you walk into all the stores and you know everybody's name and you're like, yeah, I'll just take the usual. And then it kind of is that. Like, you go in every store and you're like, oh yeah, I know who all these people are. Like, everybody's been working at these things for a million years. Go into Spuds and see Trish and the other Spuds girls. They're great. But, it's just funny because, you walk in there and you get a drink or whatever, go to Subway, and it's like, oh, man, how's the team looking? Who do you guys play this week? And it's like, I don't know, the first thing people say. Have you guys had any funny experiences with that when you guys were playing? Like, would people talk to you guys as players, or is that just more of a thing that happens to us big adults around here?
Oh.
I've got stories like those. That happens to me still.
Where they think you're a player?
Go, hey, how's the football team doing? I don't know. Coaching. people still think that I'm a high school football player.
Yeah, you do look young, to be fair.
Yeah.
Chase shows up as the coach, and they ask him where the coach is.
Yeah, that was my first. My first year coaching a high school freshman basketball team. I went to a game and I was sitting. The refs came out and I stood up, went over to shake their hands, and like, "Hey, is your coach around here?" I was like, "I am the coach."
Surprise! It's me.
Yeah. So that's fun.
I think there's a couple people around town that have no idea who Chase, Corbin, and I actually are.
I think you're covering your microphone a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It was just a little muffled. Yeah, but people who, if Chase, Corbin, and Caleb walked in a room, they'd be like, "Whoa, where they cloned him."
Yeah, that's true.
But I can think of like a few, like Wayne Brown.
Yeah.
Pat Hoyt.
Brother Brown.
Pat Hoyt. Brother Brown.
Pat's awesome. I love talking about football with Pat.
That's a great guy, dude. I love Pat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to send this to Pat so he can start listening. But I remember
he might have to be a guest on here. Dude.
He'd actually be awesome.
Yes.
He's fun. I mean, I see him at church all the time. So we're both the technology specialists. Like we have a few different callings there, but he runs the camera every week, and I sort of help out when there's like technical difficulties. But I remember this. This was after right after I got back from my mission, and we were in Moses Lake for Spring Fest, and it was the little 3v3 basketball. Chase, you remember? Hopefully you remember this. We were standing there, and Pat comes walking by. I'm like, "Hey, Pat, how's it going?" And the only thing he said to us was "back to back." That's the only words he said to us, and that's because we just won in 2015. And it was it was the spring right after that. Like I just got back from it. I didn't even get to see the game. I was still in Argentina. And he's like, "Back to back?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sweet. Yeah, that's like back to back." And just funny, that mentality of like, we know exactly what he's talking about. She'd be like, "Back to back what? You want us to stand back to back, see who's taller?" Like, Chase, it sucks for me, but back to back. And Pat it was a good prediction because we went back to back to back, and then we've won a few more since then. But just those funny interactions with people that when they know you're part of the team or that you watch it too, it's just funny how it is. I don't know if you guys had any other experiences like that of people bringing it up or talking about it. Nothing comes to mind. What's that, Corbin?
Ben Fanning at Harvest Foods.
Oh yeah, Ben. He's all about it. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, but just it's fun. I mean, that's kind of the joy of a small town. I think is just. I mean, everybody to a certain extent, or a lot of people I don't even know their names. I shouldn't maybe admit that, but I know them and I say hi. I talk to them on probably at least a weekly basis, and I have no idea what their name is. Like some of them,
you shouldn't admit that. You're
I
right.
shouldn't admit that. They're probably not going to listen to this, so it's not. I don't know if anybody's. I think we had 38 listens, and I think probably most of them were grandma, and she didn't know she was refreshing the page. So we'll take what we can get. But even we had parent-teacher conferences. It's this week, and so there's people I see at the stores and stuff, and then they walk in. I'm like, "Oh, your kid's in my class. That's cool. That's good to know. Something I can talk to you about next time." But the fun part of a small town, and Royal City is a great town. If this becomes a tourism podcast for Royal City, come on down. You can see the parrot that lives at the hardware store. I still haven't taken Cassidy to see Rosebud the parrot. Every time we drive by it, I'm like, "Oh, we got to go in there someday." So we'll do that eventually.
That parrot and I was.
Say that again, Dad. You're cutting out.
Till your daughter's born.
All right, my internet's struggling here.
That parrot was there when I was. That's how old it is.
Yeah, those parrots can live for 80, 90 years. It's crazy. So yeah, we'll get to take our daughter. I was about to say her name, but we're not revealing that yet, so I have to wait. This time next week, if we do the podcast next week, we could have her on the podcast, see what she says. Due date's on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm a little nervous. I mean, this isn't sports thing, but you get a little nervous. I go in between where I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. It's just a baby. And then it's like, oh my gosh, not that there's going back in anything, right? Like, getting married, getting into my career and all those things. It's like, no, I'm obviously in this forever. Like this is my career. This is my wife who I love. Right. But I don't know why the baby, it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm so much more responsible for this person than I am. Like my job, who cares about my job? I'm just joking. I'm responsible for my job. I do a good job there. But like, my wife, it's like she's a very capable person who, takes care of herself. And we're like equal partners in things, but it's like a baby. Oh my gosh, you've got to like watch out for this thing all the time and be stressing about it.
I'd say this probably. Imagine how this is for Cassidy, because now she's got to take care of a new baby and you.
And me,
Yeah,
I know.
That new baby.
Yeah, 2 babies to take care of. It's a rough go out there. But I don't know. I'm excited. That's nothing to do with football. But it's fun. It's exciting. It's fun to go out, at practice, and the football players ask me every day, "Did you guys have the baby yet?" I'm like, "Dude, did you think I would be here at practice if my wife had a baby in between these practices?" Of course I would be, but I would tell you guys first that we had the baby. No, I'll probably take a few days. I'll probably take a few days off of practice. No, I'll definitely take it. Cassidy's going to listen to this. I will definitely be missing practice and potentially games. If we win this week, we should have a bye week next week, which is really nice. Depending on how seeding and things work out. Nothing's guaranteed. Like, you just got to take every week by week, but it's possible that we could next week, which is cool. Anyways, that's way off on a tangent that probably nobody really cares about. But yeah, we're having a baby. Really exciting. What's that?
Shout out Grandma for listening, brother.
Shout out Grandma for listening. I shout out Grandpa maybe for listening. He didn't text me anything about it, which I thought maybe he would, but he didn't. Shout out 37 other people.
You probably have a letter coming in the mail from Grandpa.
That's true. A letter. I loved your podcast. I loved your listening to you on the radio. Yeah. It was definitely the radio that came out of your phone, Grandpa. Right. Yeah. Well,
I love it.
Let's I guess we can wrap up here. I want to hear from you guys real quick. We're going to go rapid fire here. And I want you to tell me your favorite place to stop to eat after a game, because we had an away game yesterday. We went to Popeyes after the game, just right down the road from Sunnyside High School, and it was really good. It definitely rivals Chick-fil-A as far as sandwiches go. So take a second to brainstorm here. If you're ready, shout it out. But favorite place to eat after a game? Chase saying Burger King.
Burger King, Caleb?
No, I'm saying the Kai-B Market.
Kai-B Market.
There was a lady in there. Every year we'd go in and she'd have less teeth. She was a sweetheart.
Well, that's because the Kai-B Market burritos will break your teeth off. They're so crunchy. Kai-B Market.
I say Burger King because his coaches eat for free at Burger King. So every game that we play for middle school football and basketball, we drive past that Burger King. I'm getting free dinner every time, dude.
It is nice. That Burger King is exceptionally slow, though. It's crazy.
If you go through the drive-thru, if you go in the restaurant, it's really not bad.
Can you go through the drive-thru and claim free coach thing?
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, when you take the team in there, you're not going through the drive-thru.
Oh, you're saying it's faster when you go in.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I've had it be slow, but that's, yeah. Corbin?
I'll go
They
Miners.
just don't like you.
Yeah, they probably just don't like me. Just have a punchable face. Corbin says Miners. Corbin, tell us a little bit about Miners for the people at home who don't know about it.
Miners is famously giant portions, famously average food, but after a long game in I want to say Yakima? I don't even remember.
That's right in Yakima.
Yeah, it's Yakima.
The classic.
In the Palm Springs of Washington.
Crack 'em up.
Yeah, Yakka Vegas.
Yeah.
All the above.
Miners. And the big thing about Miners, Chase, I don't know if you've been there as a coach. I actually haven't still. I've been back coaching. This is my 5th year now, and I still haven't gone to Miners as a coach. But apparently they just take you in the back and just give you crazy amounts of food. And the bus drivers always really like it.
I've heard good things.
Honorable mentions, I would say that Burger King, and second, which never like really happened, but occasionally timeout pizza. That might have
Yeah,
been
that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
But yes, timeless.
That was in basketball. Pete would make it a point to once every season go to timeout.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty sweet experiences at timeout. I don't know how badly Dad wants me to mention one of them, but
tell us the story. You got to go now.
Well,
set the tone. It was a cold January evening.
Yeah, I'll let him finish it off. But I think we had just maybe suffered a hard loss, or maybe we had just won. I can't remember. It might have been Caden Jenks' 35-point game. I think maybe my junior year, Caden Jenks was on recruiting visits for all of basketball season, so he only came to 8 games. Coincidentally, we went 8-12, and we only won when he was there. But after defeating the Huskies in Othello, we go to timeout pizza, and I don't even know if I had eaten yet, but I get a call that we have to leave urgently because Dad just got arrested.
Dad got.
So you can fill in the rest there. I don't know.
Mom was laughing when she called you to tell you that too.
It's funny because since then I've actually gone and tried to look up the mugshot, but I don't know if that's public record anymore.
We were gonna do that for Father's Day, and it didn't have anything.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we paid the freaking background search website like $20.
Totally, yeah, we did. We paid $20 for that. Didn't get it.
Was
I was gonna put it on a
ridiculous.
shirt for everybody.
Yes, I can remember standing there in handcuffs when the bus drove by. I was feeling pretty good.
So what happened?
Apparently, I paid a ticket late.
You had paid it though?
I had paid it, yes. Coincidentally, I got that ticket on the way home from a basketball game in Omak, I think it was. Or whatever county it was up there. I had paid the ticket, but it was late. And if you're late with a speeding ticket, there's a bench warrant for your arrest. And so it was years prior to this. I had no idea. I had even renewed my driver's license and everything and was never told that it had expired. So until I got pulled over because I had a headlight out. I was in my pickup. I was pulling the trailer. I had come straight from a project to the game. And they pulled me over, and it was a new cop who was, I guess, a little overzealous, is what Darren Smith told me. And so, he proceeded to arrest me. And I had no idea why. And he didn't know why either. It was just a warrant.
Next thing I knew, I was in the back of a squad car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, so and going back to the small town, sports here, tell us about going to the station.
So I get to the Othello police station. It's late, 11 o'clock at night. And this guy actually had ties to Royal. He had worked at a feedlot in Royal prior to becoming a police officer. So he kind of is familiar with Royal. And when we go to do the booking, I mean, it was so low key. He knew I wasn't a problem, and I was just kind of like, hey, whatever, let's get through the procedure, do it, whatever. We went and sat at his desk. It wasn't like I was a bad guy that he was throwing in jail. We went and sat at his desk while he booked me, kind of thing. And sure enough, we're sitting there at his desk, and he starts asking about my family, and I'm like, well, as a matter of fact, right here, front and center, right there on his desk is a newspaper, and Corbin's picture is on the front for some, sports thing. And so it was like, that's actually my son right there in the newspaper sitting on your desk. So it was pretty funny. Mom and Chloe and Cash came and took pictures with the policemen there and everything. It was quite the social experience, actually.
Came and got me the next morning.
Yes.
Luckily, you avoided serving any hard time. You were exonerated.
I did. I went to court that next week, and the judge just laughed and said, "We'll get it taken care of." So
it's nice of him. You haven't paid a speeding ticket late since.
That's true. I have not.
That's good. Haven't paid him at all. So come and get me, Othello Police Department. Yeah. Awesome. Well, some good stories. We appreciate people listening if they are listening. I guess I'll put this up. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and a few other like iHeartRadio or something. I'm trying to get it on Spotify, I guess, but I'll tweet this out and see if anybody wants to listen. Hopefully it's been somewhat entertaining. Events coming up this week. I know Friday we've got a home playoff game against Klahowya at 5:30 in Royal City. Caleb, you guys play this week at home. Is that Saturday?
Yep, Saturday, 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. Nice. Tomlinson Field, Ellensburg, Washington.
Yep.
Friday, 7:15. BYU Intramural Field 2, I think.
Pull up. What's your team name?
Grandpa Jim and Company.
Grandpa Jim and Company. We need to get some shirts made of that. That's awesome.
Is that Mountain Time or Pacific Time?
That'll be Mountain Time, so we're looking at 6:15 your time.
6:15 Royal Time. Will there be a live stream?
I'll see what I can do.
See what we can make happen. See if we can get on Instagram Live. Awesome. And then,
I
of
want
course,
to say I'm a little hurt that you didn't ask me and Dad for our sports roundup earlier. It did save time, but it kind of hurt my feelings.
Jason, Dad, any big sports events going on this week?
Yeah, me and Dad are gonna have a one-on-one basketball game at some point.
Whose knees are gonna give out first?
Oh my goodness.
Just kidding. It's Dad's. He can't even stand up. When was the last time any of you played one-on-one against Dad?
That you guys will find out. That's a sad day in a man's life when his kids can beat him one-on-one. I mean, I can clearly remember most of you. The days
Some of us are still working on it.
Some of us still working on it. Cash, can you beat Dad one-on-one?
Probably.
I know, that's what's sad. I'm like, just off of like general swiftness, he might be able to. He's a pretty spry young man.
Just off of cognitive ability, he
Just
might
based
have it.
off of general like eyesight, he probably has got it. What height of hoop are we playing on? That makes a big difference.
Oh, you guys.
Next week we'll go brother power rankings basketball. That might be a dark day for me, but that's fine. I'm willing to take that. But yeah, that's good. Other big events this week. Saturday, BYU versus Utah, the Holy War. Hopefully BYU can pull it off. Potentially having a baby that day. That is the baby's due date. Does that mean anything? Not necessarily. Could it be a good omen if she's born on the day of BYU Utah? I don't know.
Boy.
It would be great because then I'll be happy either way, and I won't even be paying attention to the game. So,
Good luck.
It's good. I'm excited. Can't wait. All right. Well, we'll get this one posted. We'll see you guys next week. Feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I don't know how any of that works, but we're having a good time. I think I'm having a good time.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Gar.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.